So far, we've considered equilibria within a single market where consumers buy from firms. We'll now consider equilibria across markets where there's a third type of economic agent that operates. This person doesn't consume or produce. All he does is look for bargains, look for ways to buy low and sell high across markets. We begin by illustrating an equilibrium in the first market, assuming there is no trade between markets. We will call the individuals that look for bargains to buy low and sell high exporters and importers. An exporter would now come into the market labeled Florida in panel A and buy goods so that he can ultimately sell them in some higher priced market. This pushes price up in Florida and implies that the quantity consumed by consumers in Florida will be below the quantity produced by producers in Florida. As the exports from Florida are imported into New York in panel B, there's downward pressure on price in New York. And this downward pressure on price in New York and upward pressure on price in Florida continues so long as price is lower in Florida than it is in New York. Thus, the behavior by exporters and importers must eventually equalize the prices across the two markets. As a result, in New York, the quantity consumed by New York consumers will be higher than the quantity produced by New York producers. Another way to look at this is that exporters push out demand in Florida, thus moving us up the supply curve in Florida, and they push down supply in New York as they input goods into New York, thus pushing us down the demand curve in New York. But we don't draw the shifts in the curves because the curves by Florida consumers and Florida producers remain exactly the same, as do the curves by New York producers and New York consumers. The only reason that curves are shifting is because of the activity of exporters and importers, and it's more convenient to illustrate those with simple arrows along the curves in which the shifts occur. The difference between what is produced in Florida by Florida producers and what is consumed in Florida by Florida consumers is then the quantity that is exported, and in equilibrium this must be equal to the quantity that is imported, the difference between what is consumed and what is produced in New York. Whenever we have a low-priced and a high-priced market and trade opens between those two markets, we can therefore illustrate the equilibrium that results from trade with a price that falls between the two prices in the markets, a price that equalizes exports and imports. Of course, this assumes that there is no shipping cost between the two markets, an assumption that doesn't always hold in the real world. But oftentimes shipping costs are sufficiently low such that this model gives us a good approximation of the impact of trade on the two markets. If there is a substantial per unit shipping cost, then there would be a difference in price that remains between the two markets, a difference that's exactly equal to the marginal cost of shipping one unit from one market to the other.